Welcome back, Bannock folks. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Bannockdotes here on the YouTube page. I'm your host, Phil.
I'm Tyler.
And we're here bringing you all the local stuff coming from Southern Ontario, just digging underneath rocks and stuff and giving you that underground sound. And today we have a great guest for us. We have Luther Griggs, who's putting on a festival called You're Infested. Which is like a play on the words "you're infested," "you're infest." It's got cool bands. We got Career Suicide, Reality Denied, Cease. The Stoves are playing. This is happening Friday, October 13th, Saturday, October 14th, and Sunday, October 15th. Get your tickets now. But we'll get all into the nitty gritty of why these bands are playing and why it's called this right now. And we're here with Luther Griggs. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, no complaints really.
So you're putting on a massive show called You're Infested, with like the play on words fest, infested. Yeah, no, I'm super excited about that. Do you want to just talk a bit about what bands are playing, when it's happening, and where people can grab tickets?
Yeah. So I put on events mostly in Hamilton. Sometimes I've put on stuff in Toronto, and I actually put on a show in St. Catharines once as well.
Nice.
But yeah, I put on shows under the name You're In. And I have like an Instagram account, and it's like yo.ur.in. And yeah, I'm putting together a festival. I guess you said this is coming out on October 11th, right?
We'll do it earlier. We're going to do it earlier, so there's more time, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, whatever works for you guys, yeah. But the fest is happening October 13th to 15th here in Hamilton, where I am from. Tickets will be available till sometime on October 12th, and you can find the link on the Instagram that I just mentioned. Friday, October 14th is the first day of the show. It's at a space called Vertigogo here in Hamilton. It used to be called the Gladstone Tavern. It's at the corner of Main and Kenilworth here in Hamilton. On Friday, Career Suicide is headlining, which I'm really excited about. They haven't played here in a really long time, so I'm really stoked to have them here. And Tashmi from Toronto is playing. Another Hamilton local hardcore band called Wasted Age is playing. Durex from Montreal is playing. Trespassing, they're like a new Toronto hardcore band. I don't think they have any recordings out yet, but they're amazing folks. I played with them back in May, and I was just like blown away. I'm really excited that they're going to be playing Hamilton as well. And then a new Toronto power violence band called Human Form is also playing on the Friday. Really stoked to see them. Calamity, they're like a new Hamilton, like rock and roll, borderline kind of punk kind of stuff. I'm really stoked for them. And another Hamilton punk band called No Signal is opening the show on Friday. And then on the Saturday, the second day, Saturday, October 14th, is also happening at Vertigogo. And Reality Denied is headlining the Saturday. I'm really excited for them to play. And then in my mind, like super iconic Toronto hardcore, like thrashy D-beat band called Absolute is on the Saturday as well. My band Cease from Hamilton. Verify, who are like a power violence band from Montreal, and Beef, a new hardcore band out of Montreal.
Such
love
a good
Beef.
name.
Yeah. I love that the EP is called Raw Cuts too. It's like so great. And then I guess technically I always say St. Catharines. I don't want to mush everyone together, but I guess technically Welland hardcore band Zero is reuniting. I'm really excited.
Right.
They're playing this Saturday as well. And then Lice is playing, and I will be announcing this tonight, the day that we're recording this, but Mortuary Slab unfortunately had to drop off the show, but Fight on Sight is now going to be playing the fest as well, so I'm really excited about that. And then on the last day of the festival is the Sunday, which is October 15th. The show's happening at a record store here in Hamilton called Into the Abyss, a really amazing space run by really amazing people, and they've been doing a lot of shows there. And the Stoves are headlining that show, which is like a new project with Drew from Single Mothers and Ross from, any myriad of like incredible Ontario bands. Ross Miller, and then Only God Forgives, who are like an amazing like power pop, cool like weird punk band from Toronto. Slow Dawn, who are this really incredible like psychedelic like noise rock, droney, really cool band from Ottawa, and Spiral Parfait, who are again more like a garage rock power pop band from Toronto, and then my other band Bad Crush is opening the show on this Sunday as well.
Yeah, those are some stacked lineups. Definitely go get your tickets for that in the bio of you're in Instagram. Now, I wanted to ask, did you did you curate this whole festival yourself? Where did you come to the idea with all these bands? There's a handful of bands that I do know on these bills, but there's definitely a couple. I feel like you've got some gems in here that maybe no one knows about. Like, there's a couple of Toronto bands that maybe I haven't heard of. So, like,
yeah, I feel like our local releases doc is about to get 10 bands bigger just from this conversation.
Amazing, yeah. I'm always doing my best to like keep my ear to the ground and like finding new stuff. And I know you guys too, and I really appreciate the segment you do, like putting on all the new stuff that's happening in Ontario. It's really great. But yeah, I mean, I've been booking shows, I guess technically for almost 10 years now. And like I started, I guess, when I was kind of like around finishing high school, and then like I would book shows here and there, mostly just like when no one was asking my bands to play, I would just book my own shows. So eventually I just got to a point, I guess, like once like lockdowns were ending and stuff like that, I was like, okay, there needs to be more things happening. You hear enough people talking about like, oh, there's nothing going on anymore, or like, why don't these bands play, or stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, well, like, let's stop making excuses and let's just start booking shows. So yeah, last year I came up with the idea, or like the name You're In, and I'm like, oh, it'd be good to have like a nice centralized place for people to go and be able to like look at events, because I don't think people like want to follow my Instagram to see what shows I'm putting on, but yeah, and then so like I started doing a few shows last year, and then went on like a bit of a break, and then started doing it a lot more seriously this year for sure. And honestly, I think the idea of the festival came about. I saw Snake Charmer, who are like just like this amazing, in my mind, just like iconic, legendary Hamilton power violence band, and they don't play very often. And they played a show at Doors Pub here in Hamilton, and it was just amazing. Like I just saw so many friends and so many people who I hadn't seen in so long, and it really felt like a nice, amazing, like just like cool community event, and seeing so many friends, and everyone just seemed so happy and excited to be around each other. So I was like, I want to try and do that again, and like put together something where it's just like brings as many people in to experience like this incredible thing all at once together. And then like I just like came up with like a list of bands that I would have wanted to play, and starting to think about it and talk about it with people. And then it's the idea of putting together a festival is really intimidating, for sure, but it was like all it really comes down to is asking people. And so I just all it really was, I started asking venues, and then eventually asking bands, and things just kind of eventually turned out the way they have now. And I'm personally really stoked on all the lineups. Like I all bands I'm really excited to see, and all bands I really really enjoy and appreciate. So yeah.
I think that's really cool. That to kind of expand on what you're saying, that it doesn't take a massive hall or a bunch of sponsors to make a festival happen. I think it's easy that like, you could just ask a bunch of bands and book a couple venues and like book a whole weekend out, and there you go, you've put together a festival. And I like that you've actually have it at separate venues too, so it's not always at the same places. I Oddly enough, I've never even heard of these places that these venues are happening at. What was what was the first venue?
The first place is called Vertigogo. It used
Vertigogo.
It used to be called the Gladstone Tavern. And it's kind of like this like very, and again in my mind I keep saying this, but I just need to like, I guess it's not iconic to everybody, but this like old iconic bar in Hamilton, but it's like not a dive bar in a cute kind of way, but like a dive bar where you're worried someone's gonna kick your ass if you're there kind of place. And then there's this my friend Jen, who I just met recently, also books shows in Hamilton, and she started working there and has kind of taken over as manager. And it's like this really amazing space. It's a really big room, and the stage is really cool, and it looks really cool in there. And there's like pool tables, and it's just like a really amazing, cool, big space that's been underutilized in Hamilton for a long time. And so yeah, in this past year, Jen's been like putting on shows there and getting other people to like put on different things as there. Like Steel City Hardcore, I think, has done at least one or two shows there now as well.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, and my band Bad Crush played there earlier this year, and I also booked another show for Bad Crush earlier this year. And it's just a great space, and it's a wonderful spot. And I don't know how familiar you two are with Hamilton, but like everything kind of gets shoved downtown, and it feels like cool stuff can only exist downtown. But Vertigo goes like way in the East End, and like
Okay.
and I live in the East End, and I know a lot of my friends have like moved out east and stuff like that now, and it's nice to have like a space that's out there. And like sometimes you can just get really stuck in downtown, so it's like really great to have a spot out here that we can all go to. And like I don't know, it's great. And yeah, I really like it there. And Jen's a wonderful person, and what she's doing with the space is really wonderful.
I like that. I think one of my bands will need to play there very soon. And
Yeah.
actually, speaking of which, one of my band members plays in one of your bands.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Collins and Cease, and yeah.
Shout out to
I
Colin.
for
Colin
sure.
rips.
I love whenever like we're in his car and we see the Sinners set lists and just how absurd they look. I appreciate those set lists so much.
Yeah, that's all Squires. He has a blast making them, and I think he adds an image almost every set, like show, and he
Yeah.
like kind of like, did you see the new set? Like he gets like stoked about it, and we love it. So like, Matt, if you're watching, and we know that you are, keep them coming. And Colin, if you're watching, and we know that you are, shout out to you for being such a rad musician. Yeah, this festival is super cool.
Mhm.
You've got the Stoves on Sunday, which is that new project with Drew, and Vince plays in that band, who plays in Stay Down with You.
Yeah, and he actually, very unfortunately, Vince just played his last show with Stay Down this
Okay.
past Friday that just passed. But yeah, he's been in that band with me for 5 years now, I think. But he also plays in Cease and Bad Crush as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Vince just plays in basically every band probably. But yeah, he's playing that show. It's wild too because he's like also playing with Cease and Bad Crush, and he's also playing with Zero now too. So I think
Oh.
he's broke the record for the person who's going to be playing the most amount of sets for that weekend.
So
Yeah.
like, Riley, look out! Like there's another person who's taken over. Like
All right. Yeah.
yeah, Riley, Ross, and like yeah, and Vince are like, these are just the people who create so many bands, are in so many bands. And shout
Mhm.
outs for you folks if you're, and we know that you're watching. Uh, yeah, no, this I really I love that you're putting together this thing, and it's very like grassroots, and it's in this like I said, I'm only familiar with like the Doors, Absinthe,
Mhm.
Casbah. Like I think
Mhm.
I know of Corktown, but I
Yeah.
haven't been there. And so like to hear that there's a space that's kind of in a different area, because you're right, these places that I just mentioned are very like central to downtown,
Mhm.
and that is probably all like what I'm really familiar with as far as Hamilton goes. I'm
Yeah.
pretty spotty with it, but that's awesome that there's
Mhm.
like, we need that. And if there are people look like thinking about like trying to run a space, like yes, book a band. Like it's not too hard.
Mhm.
I think people get almost intimidated when they hear about hardcore shows and like metal festivals and like whatnot. I think people are like not sure like how the crowd's gonna be, but I think
Mhm.
in the real world, like everybody's very respectful. Sure, we might get a little rowdy when it comes to moshing, but everybody, even people who are in the pit who get hit, understand that like that's what they're there for, right?
Yeah.
That's like
Mhm.
that's how it happens. There, it's I think people get into this mindset like, oh, there's there going to be a lawsuit on my hand. It's like, no, that's not what the person's thinking at all. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
hardcore is not like that. And I think if people are, considering opening up a space and doing it, just do it. Yeah, I like that mindset.
Yeah, well, Jen, who's running the Vertigogo now, like she is like a punk booker. Like she's from London, has been booking shows for a long time, so she's very much like a punk music and like heavy music first kind of person. And but now it's great because that space they're having like hip hop shows now, and they have
Cool.
like a house DJ night and stuff like that, and they have like burlesque shows, and she's doing a lot, and she's doing a lot to like try and make sure that people can feel welcome doing any kind of uh and any kind of event there. But yeah, it's like, obviously Absinthe is closed now, and they say in Hollywood closed down as well during lockdown times, and so there's like less and less places to play, and having that space now is wonderful. And I know like, and when I think about doing stuff and putting on shows, I know that like a venue is a part of the appeal. And like I love playing doors. I will play doors over anywhere else. Like I really do love playing there, but it's like it sometimes it sucks when every show's happening at doors, and I always try my best now that I'm like booking more shows more seriously. I'm like, okay, I got to try and find a different kind of space that people would want to come to check out, not only for the bands, but just to be able to see something happening in a different kind of space too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important that you recognize that. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, shout out to doors. Nothing wrong with the doors, but sometimes it's always booked too. It can always be hard
Yeah,
to
that
to
too.
get a date there. So,
Yeah.
because there's always stuff happening. So, but like you're absolutely right. A change of pace and scenery is can really mix up a really like a scene. What was the other venue where it's happening at a record store?
Yeah, it's happening at Into the Abyss, and that is downtown. But it's just like in a really amazing space. They used to be located like in the west end of Hamilton on Lock Street, but they recently, I think, in the past couple years at least, maybe even three at this point. No, maybe like two. But yeah, they have the really big storefront, and they've started putting shows on there. Like I know my friend Brad, who owns and runs the place, like being able to have in-store shows is really important to him, and he's been doing a really good job of having good stuff happening there really frequently. And I think he has like almost 7 shows happening there in October. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
Like honestly, I would say like Into the Abyss is kind of like the venue in Hamilton now. It's kind of like unfortunate because they're not like, I know like you're kind of saying, like some people do have concerns about like hardcore bands playing in certain kinds of spaces. So like I very intentionally wanted to be like a smaller bill for the Sunday show, and more like, obviously movie music you could still like dance to and have fun to, but not, you don't have to worry about like people like breaking records and windows and stuff like that kind of show. But yeah, it's a really great space, and yeah, if you haven't checked it out, and it's like, they sell clothing there too, and records and CDs and tapes, and it's just like an overall really great space, and the people who work there are really wonderful people. And if you're ever in Hamilton, it's just like a good spot to go and like hang out and even just like talk to people and have a nice time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like unconventional spaces like that. Like shout out to the Knack too. Like
Mm-hmm.
in what they've been doing. Like it's like an open balcony, like an open roof balcony that you're playing on, right? Like it's such like that opportunity doesn't present itself too often to hardcore and punk bands, so it's super sick.
And it's so exciting when you tell someone like I'm playing on a roof tonight, and they're like, "What the
Yeah,
hell?"
yeah, I'm playing a record store. Like it sounds sick. It sounds like there's a story behind it.
um, yeah. So let's get into some of the bands that you play with. Cease recently put out that's like the debut EP, right?
Yeah, the
Uh,
demo.
the
That's a
demo.
good EP.
We
Thank
I
love
you.
like
it.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
Yeah.
you.
it's super aggressive. We love the tongue in cheek, like the un de trois quatre cinq.
Cease.
Yeah, cease as like the yeah, and that kind of reminds us of like I think we mentioned like of the Chariot,
Chariot or
like
68
Hell
just did
yeah.
it with their new album.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So no, we love that, but. I was just refreshing myself with some of the songs, and I couldn't help but notice that the second song, "Duh," is very to the point. Like I need to catch the train, get out of the way. I'm gonna be late. I love that. What was the
Mhm.
inspiration behind that? Is it just like somebody being late, or is it a thick layered metaphor for something?
I think it is literal. Unfortunately, I don't write the lyrics. That's all Bridget. But yeah, I think in that song specifically, it's a very I mean, I guess like because I'm pretty sure she like was telling me that it was just something that she was experiencing at that time, and but I think obviously you can read it as a metaphor and perceive it in different kind of ways. But I know in a very immediate way, I think it's a very uh surface level kind of thing. And again, I hate to speak for her, but uh I don't know. I think it is fun, and like our motto is like all bullshit, all breakdowns, and like the idea behind the band is trying our best not to take it seriously and just like
Mhm.
write fun aggressive music to just like like have people freak out to. Like that's just the whole idea behind the band, really, and just like not take it too seriously and not be like, oh, we have to sound like this or we have to do that. It's just kind of like that whole EP we wrote and recorded the entire all the instrumentals in one day. We were just like, you're just like, let's just do it, let's just get it done, because at the time I was just like going through a bit of a writer's block with my bands, and it was like taking a lot of time to try and like figure out these songs and stuff like that. I'm like, I just want to do a project where I don't think about it and I just do it. And so that was kind of like the initial idea of the band, even before like Bridget and was joined and the lyrics are written and stuff like that. But we're all just like fun people trying to have a good time together. And yeah,
And you play guitar in the band, yes?
I play bass.
Oh, you play bass. Do you
Yeah.
play bass in all your projects?
I do vocals and Stay Down, and then I play bass in Cease and Bad Crush.
Rad,
Interesting.
rad.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah,
jack of all trades.
Hmm. That's it. Those are all I can do.
the vocal performance on that CCP is wild to me.
Oh yeah, Bridget is like,
It sounds crazy.
she's
Like,
born to be a front person too. Whenever you folks get the chance, I don't know if you saw us when we played in St. Catharines, but like if you folks ever get the chance to see us, like she goes wild. Like she's just an amazing front person. Like she's really doing a great job.
And your other band, Stay Down. Is there anything upcoming with the? Because I think the last release we had
Mhm.
from you,
2019.
yeah,
Yeah, we do have an EP that's like on the brink of being finished. I've just been kind of lazy lately, and it's all on me. Like I just need to write lyrics for 2 more songs. But I'm hopefully it'll be out sometime next year. With Vince leaving the band now, like we had a bit more of like a serious talk, like me and Ryan and Paul, the other members in the band, about like where we want to go and what we want to do. So we're hopefully gonna have that out sometime next year, and try and do like a run of shows. But I'm really stoked on those songs, and we've had those songs written for like 3 or 4 years now, and I've been stoked on it for a long time, and hopefully those will be out soon and everyone will be able to hear them, because I'm really jazzed on it. So
that's exciting. Yeah. I haven't seen you folks Stay Down, but I've definitely like, I think maybe I have seen you folks. I'm so
yeah,
bad with.
yeah, it's okay. We've actually played with Hellbent twice.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna say this. Then now that I'm say the name, stay down. I was gonna say like I think I've played with Hellbent. Like as I
Mhm.
said it, I was like Hellbent. At the Doors, right?
Yeah, our first show was, I'm pretty sure, with Hellbent at Doors. I literally just like, it was like in the Hamilton punk Facebook group. I was like, hey, I'm in a band, I want to play a show, and I can't remember the name of your bass player, but he reached out to us and he's like,
Breezy.
hey, if you yeah, it's
Shit,
like
up easy.
and
Yeah.
he was like, if you want to hop on, you can hop on. And then when you folks were on tour with Botfly, Vince booked the show with us at Shithouse.
I love
Oh,
punk venues.
this is great because we can tell. So the Shithouse show,
Yeah,
we didn't get to play.
you didn't play?
No, we didn't get to play because the cops shut it down.
No.
Yeah,
Was it? I don't
yeah.
remember. Okay. I thought,
So
because I remember, okay, in my memory, and this is a while ago now, obviously, but in my memory, our guitar player was late. And so we were supposed to open and you folks were supposed to headline. But then unfortunately, I remember, at least I remembered it in a way where you folks played first. I thought, I don't know, maybe not. Like it was so long ago now that like I'm not totally sure. But I remember, I know Bot5 played and I know we played, but
Bob
maybe,
Five played, and I think when Bob Five played, we were gonna play after them, and then when
okay.
they were playing, did cops show up? Do you
I don't know.
remember cops showing up?
I know it happened at a bunch of other shows that happened there. It could have been. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think if this is the show that this is the punk house that was near the school, right?
It was by Gage Park. I don't think it was near. Like there was there's a building close to there that looked like
Like
a
at the
school.
college, or sorry, the university or something that's up there, right?
No, it was. Oh wait, no, it was by high school. Actually, now that I remember, yes, yeah, near the Tim Hortons field.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, you know what? There's now that I'm thinking about it, there's been a couple times I've played some rad houses, and I can't remember. I can't. That's I might be thinking of a different show. I might be thinking of a different show now that I'm thinking of it.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Hellbent played a lot of shows, so I'm sure it's easy to mix them all up.
we've also played a couple houses in Hamilton too. So
Hmm.
like and especially not being from there, like I definitely easily get them confused.
Before we jump into some anecdotes, I did want to ask you a question as you are
Okay.
a booker and a promoter of
Hmm.
shows. Anywhere in the world, no budgetary restrictions, 5 bands, your dream lineup. Who you booking?
My dream lineup. I mean,
Dream
this might
lineup, dream venue.
okay. Dream venue. Um, dream venue.
Active or gone.
Um,
You can get as
okay.
creative as you want.
I mean, the Soy Bomb in Toronto would be sick. I really liked going to shows there. That was like a really, really great spot. So maybe the Soy Bomb. This might be like a super basic answer, but like I'd love to see Minor Threat. If Minor Threat reunited, like that would just be insane, and it would just like I'd lose my mind. I'd have Minor Threat headline for sure.
Okay.
Um, and another band. Cult Rituals, probably a band I would probably want to throw on there as well. They're just like I'm just thinking of bands that I would love to see but have never got the chance to see. So Cult Ritual would be one. Um, I'd throw Surtsey on that list just because I think Surtsey is like the best hardcore band, and had the pleasure of seeing them 3 times now, and every time I see them, it's just like the coolest stuff I've ever experienced. Um, who else? There's a power violence band called DNF that I really like for like Duke Nukem Forever, and
Okay. That's a name that gets my attention.
yeah, they're really good. Elliot Babin from Touche Amore used to play in that band.
Cool.
And that's just like another incredible, just like fast, heavy, ruthless power violence band. And just off the top of my head, I think my fifth one would be Purity Control. That's like another amazing Toronto power violence band that I never got to see, but I have their records, and like they have a live video on the Equalize and Distort radio show YouTube channel that I watch all the time, and I'm just like, this band is like everything that I want to be. So I'd say maybe that's my five, I guess.
That's sick. Yeah. That is a for the people answer.
Yeah.
That is an answer that is pure to real hardcore. I like that.
Yeah, so I think we could jump into some of the anecdotes that we normally do. Do you have any entertaining stories that you have from being in bands? Anything that you'd want to entertaining to retell? Any sort of inside jokes that you have that you maybe want to share with the
you know,
world?
yeah, it's what's funny is that I hear people tell these like amazing stories, especially like when we're we play in heavier bands, so like wacky stuff tends to happen or whatever. But surprisingly enough, I feel like I haven't experienced enough. Like a big thing in Hamilton for a long time, people aren't really doing it too much nowadays, but like shooting off fireworks at shows is like a big thing here. Like anytime, especially at like This Ain't Hollywood, there was like fireworks going off all the time. Something I kind of miss, but after getting like a Roman candle in the face, it's like kind of nice to like not have to worry about that anymore. But um,
Have you
yeah,
gotten a Roman candle in the face?
yeah, I got a
That's
Roman candle
terrifying.
straight to the face at a show once, and I was angry in the moment, but it was like I was kind of like fuck, that was like kind of sick.
Did both of you see the footage of Kennedy from Fight on Sight just getting hit with a chair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous shit. I feel
Pretty.
so bad for her. Like that was the actual footage. Like it's just like people moshing, and then like a Tim and Eric sketch, like a chair just goes
Yes.
fucking flying into them. Like who threw that? What is their problem? What happened?
Yeah, I'm glad that she wasn't too bothered by it though, which is like great. I guess it's the same sort of thing. Like I said, when I got the Roman candle in the face, like I was so pissed. I'm like, fuck this, fuck hardcore. This is so
I
bullshit.
think you're okay to be allowed with getting like to be angry about getting hit with a chair. I don't think like I don't like get in the pit and then get hit with a chair and I'm like, well, what did I expect? No. Like that's pretty fucked.
No. I
Roman
agree.
candle too. So what does that feel like? What does that feel like?
God. He's so did you think you were blind?
No, I got it like I think kind of maybe even like between the eyes. I don't think I got it like in the eye, thankfully. But it was wild because usually like when I'm at like a show and I know I want to move around, I'll take my glasses off, and I remember just like I'm so stupid. And I guess the same sort of thing where like I shouldn't go to a show expecting to get a Roman candle in the face for sure. But it did happen, and yeah, I was kind of like, this is dumb, and punk is dumb. I don't like this. But then I like like 15 minutes went by. I'm like, whatever, that was cool. Like, it's
and
sick.
this happened inside.
No, it was. I mean, not to say that like it wasn't a thing that did happen inside at Hamilton shows for sure, but no, it was. There was this record store in Hamilton called Hammer City Records, and they used to have shows in the alleyway behind the store. And this Hamilton hardcore band called Coke Jaw was playing, and the singer had a Roman candle, and he just like was shooting it off at the audience, and I got it like right in the face.
I'm always worried about that. Center, when we play, we have a lot of I use a lot of blood, like fake blood, and I always want to be the band that just sprays blood everywhere, but I also don't want to I'm very like thoughtful of the audience. Like I wouldn't want to be covered in blood. Like
I don't want someone to trip.
And I sometimes people will be like, oh, like they're wearing a nice shirt and they don't want to get so I'm very thoughtful of it. But like I've had people we also have the fake head, like the severed head that we throw around, and we cover her in blood once in a while, and we've heard from the people being like, oh, she's bloody too, I got some blood on me. So like I don't know, I need to find a fine balance between that, but having a Roman candle and shooting it at the audience, that takes what I was thinking completely out of it's completely careless.
This is what the Mind Force guy meant when he said this is real hardcore. And then he holds a Roman candle out. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You could like spin it though and like have like white spinner or white Sinner t-shirts and be like Splash Zone t-shirt, and like
I was about to say, yeah.
I think Guar does that, don't they?
Merch idea.
Yeah, that's true. That's not a bad idea. Buy the shirt and get it splattered on. Yeah. All right. Well, you're throwing good ideas at us, and if you're seeing Sinner next, buy one of the tees and get covered in blood. Now, have you done much touring outside of Hamilton? Like have you played done any weekend runs and whatnot?
Not totally. Like Stay Down has played in Toronto a couple times. My first band Sketchbooks played in Toronto once. My other band Wimp City played in Toronto once. I feel like most times when I'm in a band, like we get to that point where we're like, oh, we're gonna keep being a band, and then it just stops keep being a band, and then like we do like one out of town show and then it breaks up. But yeah, Stay Down we've played in Toronto a couple times. I think the farthest I've gone is with Bad Crush. We went to Montreal. We played Montreal last summer, and we also played Ottawa on that run. And then Cease, when the EP came out, we did we played Hamilton, and then we did a show in Toronto and Kitchener as well. And that's honestly the most I've ever really done.
I only ask because typically I have a question like, what is your go-to gas station snack?
Oh, okay. I mean, I've always loved I'm a sucker for like slushies, or what do they call them at Circle K?
Slush
what
puppies?
Or like the ices?
Icy slap.
Or like
Icy.
What are they called at the Circle K though? They used to be Max Milk. They're called like Slushos or something like that.
Slushos.
I can't remember.
No way.
I don't know.
Slushos.
But I'm a sucker for like silly flavors. So like if I go to like a gas station and they got a slushy machine and it's just like this like neon green flavored that's like sour apple like kind of stuff, like I'm a sucker for that. Like I just anything that like has a design on it that looks like a Monster can and is just like full of sugar and just like anything. I'm just such a sucker for anything that's like novel, like a novelty thing. Like, let's just put
Mhm.
something wacky on a label. I'm like, okay, I'll get that. Like, I got to try it once.
Yeah, I like that. When Hellbent did that music video where I smoked 100 bong tokes in 100 minutes, the first thing that like we went to in Avondale after, because like I was toasted. All I wanted was just like the largest size slush puppy that you could get, and there's just something special about getting this like the weird colors, the neon green, like especially like it's just like the most unnatural looking thing, but it's
Yeah.
so damn good. Shout outs to every ice drink, was it the Slurpees, ices, slush puppies,
Slushos.
slushos. Yeah, no.
Can I get an icy? We don't got them, kid. We got salted caramel watermelon slushos.
Hell yeah.
That's
It's great
great.
too, because when you go into a place like that and they've got like 10 insane flavors, and then you just stack them up, like you just
Oh
get a little sample
yeah,
of like
jungle
each one, and
juice.
it's so great. Yeah, it's like, yeah, totally. And it's like when you'd go to like the variety store as a kid and you'd get like those like penny candies and just stuff in a bag and you just try every single
Yeah.
one. It's like that, but in drink style.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Did you do
No,
that
I don't
thing
think
when you
so.
were a kid and you would like get every type of pop and it would just taste like shit, but to you hacked the system?
Yeah,
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 totally.
you're
Yeah.
It
I
just
paid for
tasted
one, but I got
so
5.
bad. Yeah, exactly.
you're like, the secret is to put more orange crush than anything. And like
Yeah.
as if you've got some sort of like handle on it. No, penny candies, I don't think that's a thing anymore. I don't think you
No,
can walk into the
no.
store and get the little bag full of
Yeah.
candies. Like that is an outdated like
Yeah, that's a pre-COVID item.
it's a
It's
Yeah.
never coming back.
Nope.
Now, let's say Cease has got a massive show. In this hypothetical, you've got an unlimited budget. What is in the green room waiting for you? What is your rock star wishes? Do
Okay.
you want? You can have the room done up however you want. It is physically. It is the your imagination is yours.
Okay. Um like I don't got a lot of money, so the idea, it's like when your parents take you out for dinner on your birthday and they're like, you can get whatever you want. And so like
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm getting a steak, I'm getting ribs, lobster, anything with truffles on it. I'd get truffles on all of that
Hell
stuff,
yeah.
100%. Some sort of like fancy mushroom, or like crazy aged cheese that like it costs like $100 a pound or something like that. I would love when I hear that, when I hear like no holds barred, blank check, get whatever you want. I'm like, I want to eat stuff that I'm never gonna eat otherwise. Like, I can't afford to go to a restaurant and eat a steak like ever. So that's, yeah, in my mind, definitely I would get all of that for sure. It would look like in a movie when there's like a giant table and there's just like a full rack of ribs and like a full like roasted chicken, and that's what I would want in my green room for sure.
Is there any movies playing? What is on the walls? What does the
Okay.
artwork look like?
Is there live
What?
entertainment?
I think
Who's playing your green room?
maybe in the and I guess on the subject, unfortunately people wouldn't know this, but I'd have Little Nicky playing. That would be a great movie to be watching.
It is a good movie. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's tons of fun. And Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome. Like, let's
Oh,
be real.
yeah.
They weren't wrong. And you know what's? I remember as a kid, I used to think that was so funny, and
Oh
I
my
had
God.
no idea why. I just thought that was so funny to me. And then, like, finally, like 10 years later, we get Popeye's chicken, and it
Yeah.
is the shiznit. It
It
is
is,
the
yeah.
shiznit.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
I love the costume of the giant chicken bucket too, with like the demon legs underneath. Like, I love that costume so much. That
Yeah.
the production design in Little Nicky is so unprecedented, and I feel like it's like the only Adam Sandler movie where he went like full bug nuts. Like, okay, you're giving me this much money, I'm gonna like go as crazy. I'm gonna have Ozzy Osbourne bite my head off. You know what I mean?
It's one of the only times he didn't just show up in what he was wearing that day.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he had
yeah.
a costume. Like, he actually puts that's actually probably, this is probably such an unpopular opinion, but that is definitely my favorite Adam Sandler movie of all time.
Wow, hell yeah, damn.
It's a fucking awesome movie.
It's definitely my top 5 for sure.
Oh, number one for Lil Nicky.
Number one, eh? I mean, you're disregarding what the little or
Pixels, all the classics. Grown Ups 1, Grown Ups 2.
Happy Gilmore.
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Billy Madison, Wedding Singer.
Billy
You know what?
Madison.
I went back to Billy Madison, and I don't feel like it aged that well. I
I
feel I gotta stop saying stuff.
Okay.
I was brought onto this channel to destroy the fan base, to fully alienate everybody from this channel.
Yeah, honestly, if you want to do an Adam Sandler podcast, I am so into it. Like I love Adam Sandler so much, and I think Billy Madison, out of any of his movies, is the most timeless. And I think it's like so weird. In my mind, it's like the Tim and Eric version of an Adam Sandler movie. Like that line Norm Macdonald says, I think it's the funniest.
It's a
the
classic.
Funniest moment in a movie ever is the "Who'd you rather bone, Meg Ryan or Jack Nicholson?" I think that's like the funniest joke in a movie ever. Honestly,
Yeah, there's a lot of good quotables in it. I will give it that. But
oh yeah, that's great. Shout out to Adam Sandler. We know you're watching.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Love you in Righteous Gems or whatever that's called. Righteous Gems, Uncut Gems. Actually, a great movie.
Do you have any pre-show rituals before you play?
I try to remember to stretch. Like, that's a big one for sure. And whenever I don't, I hate myself afterwards. Like, yeah, stretching's a big one. Like I try to, I like to move around while I'm playing. So if I don't stretch, I'm like, throwing kicks above my head, and then the next day I can barely walk upstairs. Yeah, or like especially with Cease, because the songs are like so short, and like I said, we wrote and recorded it, and one day I just like listened to the EP on repeat too. I'm like, I can't forget this. I need to remember like these two breakdowns almost sound exactly the same. I need to make sure that like this one's got a 3 and it's not just like 1-2 open or whatever.
That's interesting. That like you wouldn't consider that if you writing a whole EP in a day. That like it's recorded, it's there, but like sometimes when you get to when you start a band, you go to practice, you practice these songs. It's kind of like you worked backwards. You did the finished product and kind of learned from it afterwards, which is interesting. And I think it's definitely, I don't think there's any right way necessarily to do, like start a band, but that is a cool way to do it. And but it's just something that you like, myself especially, who's done it the other way. Like it's funny that you say that, because like that's something you wouldn't consider.
We tried to do it again recently. We're like, all right, let's just like crank out EP2, and then like we tried and we're like, we don't got the juice this time. It's not happening. But it's funny, like when we tried to do it again, when we were coming up with ideas and just like throwing stuff together, and Vince said this thing, it was just like, this is the worst these songs will ever be, because it's the first time we're playing them. And like I think even the songs on that EP, like we play them like they're like, I mean, they're mostly the same, but we play them a lot differently than they sound on the EP, because once we start jamming it and like practicing it, we make it more interesting and just totally. And I think that's kind of cool. Like, speaking of Minor Threat, like I think that was kind of like the idea with Fugazi too. I think they would like record the album, and then it was like it was all about the live show. It wasn't so much about like what the songs are supposed to sound like. It's like you got to come and hear it to actually experience what it's supposed to be like.
I like that. Especially that's how you get your audience captivated, right? That's you got to bring them to the live show. Is there is there any, like you did the artwork behind the Cease demo? It's just like a charm bracelet. Was there like what was the inspiration behind that?
Again, Bridget did the art, so unfortunately I can't really
cool.
speak. Yeah, I can't speak to it too much. Bridget
really
is
like
probably. Yeah, she's I was about to say, like Bridget is honestly probably the most talented artist I know. Like she's like an incredible visual artist, and we had some ideas initially, because she was like, when we were finally going to be putting out the EP, she was like, well, what do you think about stuff visually? And we like threw out ideas, and she was drawing stuff, and I was like, this is sick, or this is cool. And I'm kind of in that mindset of like, let's not think about it, let's just put it out, let's just do it. And she's like, no, like give me some time, I want to like go to the library and like think of something and put a little bit more thought into it. And I think she like literally just like had like a box of trinkets and went to the library and just like arranged it on the scanner at the like Central Hamilton Library and then just scanned it and then sent it to us. I think she even sent it to us from the library.
That's sick. That's sick.
That's super cool. And so can we expect Bridget to be like designing the merch for Cease?
Yeah, yeah. She is like basically 100% the visual aspect of the band. Like,
Hmm.
obviously we only had one shirt, but she designed that logo, and she's just like I said, like so extremely talented, and I think she could draw anything and it would look sick on a t-shirt or on a tape or whatever else. Like she just like I said, she's just like so visually talented for sure, and vocally talented as well.
Hmm. All right, I think I've only got one more question left for you. It's a big
All
one.
right.
Um, what are your top five all-time favorite artists? If you can't give me five, you can try and give me three.
I
It's
could
a big
definitely give you
question.
five.
Okay, cool.
Um, this will be weird. I like the thing is they're not. There's probably some, I guess, at least one like hardcore band, but I listen to all kinds of music. I love it all. My number one, I think, forever and eternity is Bjork. She is like I think she's just like
Hell
the
yeah.
most.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's just the most insanely creative person. Every single record is just like so dense with just like the most beautiful and like otherworldly stuff you could imagine, and like everything she does incorporates visually with her records is just like so incredible, and like there's such like a huge deep wealth of stuff, and she always releases like um remix albums, and like I've been put onto like so many artists just from like checking out her remix albums, and she just has such a good ear, and she's always like uh, collaborating with the coolest people, and every record is just so incredible, and she's like forever my number one. I love Bjork so much. um number two Number two, I would say there's this unfortunately defunct like post-hardcore slash screamo band from Toronto called Animal Faces. And they're a band that ever since I heard them, they were just like such a huge inspiration and just like so unique and so stylistically interesting. Like the in most insane guitar parts, and like the songs are so rhythmic and interesting in a way that like the drums and the bass just like it all just like falls together so well, and it's they're an amazing band, and I'm so bummed that they are no longer a band. I hope somebody will have enough money to make them reunite one day.
Hmm.
um Other than Animal Faces, who else? um Gosh, New Order is probably another one. I really like New Order. That's like a band that I can definitely like. If I'm ever feeling down, I can just pop on a New Order record and just like feel like I'm on top
Good
of the
call.
world. Um, The Cure would probably be another one as well. That's another
Nice.
band, and that they have just so many records as well. And it's just like every time you think you listen to Wish or this is it called Disintegration? Is that the one album? I'm so bad with titles. The gray one. I'll
Same.
say the gray one. That's what I
Yeah.
think. There's the gray one and the red one and the blue one. You listen to those records and there's just like so much into them, and it's so beautiful, and yeah, Robert Smith is just has the most beautiful voice, and he seems like such a pleasant person. I love him so much. All right, let's think number five now. Let's not blow it.
Hmm.
Number five favorite artist. I'm like looking around my room at my records and stuff. Uh, I'll say, I'll say another band that I think was like my favorite band as a kid. Um, like probably between the ages of like 13 and like 16, this band was just like everything to me. Attack in Black is like a huge deal for me,
Okay.
and I've been moving backwards and like listening to those records a lot lately, and just like realizing how significant that band is, and like
Mm-hmm.
making my taste. And they're so cool because like even when you listen to their like more folky albums and stuff like that, there's always like the cool punk underbelly to it. And
Yeah.
I really like a band that like can really be that diverse. And like I think they put out like the last record they put out was like a live album, and like they're still playing like the hardcore records mixed in with like the light folky, like Neil Young type stuff. And I was like, I don't know, I think that's so cool that a band was able to do that and so seamlessly, and like even getting to see them play, and they're playing like, you know, the lighthearted stuff, but then like the stuff that you could like throw somebody through a wall to if you wanted to.
I love that. Actually, I was talking about Attack in Black yesterday, and the only time that I've actually seen the band was at a house party that one of them was throwing. One of the and like this was in high school, and it was a very intimate setting, as you can imagine, and it was amazing. And speaking of Attack in Black, Ian's playing in Career Suicide, so like it's just coming all full circle. And Career Suicide is playing You're Infested, so this is a whole thing. Everyone, make sure you go get your tickets for this festival. It's going to be a great time. People outside of Hamilton, it's more of a grassroots festival. It's both the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the 11th to the 13th. Did I get that right?
The Friday the 13th, October 13th to the 15th.
That's right. 13th to the 15th. October 13th to the 15th at Vertigogo on Friday, Saturday. And what was the record store? Into the Abyss. I was going to say Abysmal Records, but it's Into the Abyss on Sunday. We've got a stacked lineup. Make sure you grab your tickets in advance, because I'm sure this puppy is going to sell. I'll tell you that. Is there anything you wanted to add just before we leave?
No, I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited about the festival. I think it's gonna be huge. Like, and not to toot my own horn, like I feel like I sound like such a jackass being like, "Oh, my fest could be huge," but like I'm just so stoked. Again, like I feel like that's also a big part of like putting on shows, is just like I want to see these bands play together. You know, I feel like every time I put on a show, it's just like, what is like the coolest show I could think of that I could put together? And like whether or not people come, I know I'm gonna be stoked, and I'm gonna be like, you know, acting silly, and yeah, so I'm stoked. And you know, also like Hamilton, like the Ontario music scene right now is so incredible. Like, you know, even what's going on in St. Catharines as well. Like, Logan with Mount Vile, like what he's doing is so incredible. And like, you know, the stuff that's going on in Toronto with like Bug Magazine and like Homie Shit Mag, and you know, there's just like so much cool stuff happening in Ontario, and it's so sick. And I just like, I guess one thing I want to say is like, if you see a show and you don't know the bands, it's so worth it to check them out. Like just like listen to it. And I used to, you know, just get so stoked about like, you know, going to a show and I only know one band and I'm so excited to see who the other bands are, because like, even if it's not hardcore or punk, like even if you went to an indie rock show anywhere in Ontario right now, it's probably going to be really interesting and cool. Like the scene is just like so insane right now. And like, I feel like there's so much going on, so it's kind of intimidating. Like there's like, it feels like there's 10 shows happening every single day. But yeah, like, you know, go out and check it out and support and watch the bands. And yeah, I think that's just something that I really want to get out there for sure.
Awesome. So follow Cease, follow Stay Down, follow Bad Crush. Make sure you're following You're In for all the shows that are happening. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm so glad we can do this. I'm sure we could talk for an hour, but we've already taken up a lot of your time. So thank you again for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you say, so you